left my phone and then came back to it maybe an hour later. I was just like, is this the moment? Like, this is happening? Like, this is unbelievable.
Coming up on the official Celtic FC podcast, we're joined by Celtic fan and singer-songwriter Brooke Combe as she talks about her incredible career and her support for the Hoops.
This is the official Celtic FC podcast.
Yes, everyone, hello and welcome along to the official Celtic FC podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Marr, and I'm delighted to be joined by this guest today. We've got a singer, a songwriter, someone whose debut album's coming out very, very soon?
I'd say so.
Debut album's coming out very soon. Absolutely delighted to say you're joined by massive Celtic fan Brooke Combe and the rising star of the Scottish music scene.
Hello. I have to say one thing before we proper get into this.
Okay, go.
It's Combe.
Combe?
That sound though, I'm so used to it. But I didn't want to go ahead just being like, do you know what I mean?
Right, okay.
With you not knowing.
Okay,
so now
I
We've
do
cleared it.
apologise. This is me being outed like straight from the off. What a start to the podcast.
I'm taking no prisoners, mate.
See, to be fair, like my surname's the same. Like you say my surname Mar, but it's spelled like M-A-H-E-R.
Well, I was going to say like Mayor or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're in the same boat with that.
I got you.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm very, very good. I'm delighted to have you on, and we've got you at a really good time. We're going to talk about your music career, your love for Celtic, all that type of stuff, but it's exciting for you because the day that you sit in here, I think this weekend that just passed, you just finished your album, is that right?
Literally, yeah. It's a madness, honestly. I've just come up the road. I got a wee bit time off now, so I'm doing all things I love, and here we are, which is quite nice.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. How's it feel to get it over the line?
Good. A massive weight off my shoulders. I have been like, I don't know, it's one of them, like you never ever know what your debut album's going to look like, going to sound like. And I'll be honest, I feel like I've done myself quite proud. Like, brilliant. I'm quite a doubter. I doubt every piece of work I ever do, quite a perfectionist. And for once, I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, step back, it's done. I'm not going to sit and critique everything. I'm really, really happy with it.
Well, I mean, you should be proud, even just to get to the stage of getting your debut album. We'll talk more about your music career soon and how you kind of have got to this position. But it must just be a proud moment to know that you have achieved something you've always wanted to do.
Well, it's mad because like literally 4 years ago in lockdown I was studying still, do you know what I mean? Like I'd never thought I'd ever get to this stage.
Yeah.
And I, to be honest, I never even actually seen it like in my life, like this being my career path, to be completely honest. But here we are. I do not know how this has all happened, but I am not complaining. I'm literally just basking in it.
Why not? I know that's the best thing to do. Just enjoy the moments with that. I mean, there'll be a lot of people that are watching and listening that are aware of your music and who you are. There'll probably be some people watching that might be the first time that they hear of you, Brooke. So why don't you give people a little bit of an explanation that might not know who you are about who are you?
Well,
and what type of music are you doing? What's your story, Brooke?
So basically, I'm from Edinburgh. I'm 24. And I've been doing music like professionally for probably about 4 years now.
Yeah.
Like I said, just coming out of lockdown, it was sort of like something I felt I wanted to focus on. It was like a pretty rubbish time for everybody, I would say, lockdown. Yeah. And for me, I went through a breakup. I was just, I was feeling dead lonely, like everything like that. And my big brother phoned me one night. I was having a meltdown and he was like, right, I've had enough of this. You need to do music. What have you actually got to lose? Like, you're 21 at the time. Just go for it and see what happens. You may as well. So here I am. I just released like a mixtape, which was sort of like a collective body of work of like all my earlier tunes. And I feel like those types of tunes was me sort of finding out what kind of artist I wanted to be. But now with the debut album, it's just night and day, soul all round, funk. It's just groovy, like all my inspirations just bundled into one.
Amazing.
I'm buzzing.
It must be quite a fulfilling feeling when you do start to recognise, right, this is the type of artist that I am?
Oh, I mean, it is strange though. It's like I feel like I'm maturing in a way. I feel like I'm at a bit of a weird age as well. Like I'm gonna be 25 this year, and I know I look worse than that, but I don't know. I feel like I'm like sort of understanding who I am, and it's probably coming with age, and it's probably coming with doing something I'm really proud of, and just feeling like, wow, like this is my lane. And I've never felt like, what's the word, that like a content, I suppose, that content. So I feel comfortable.
It's funny, at 25 and you start to feel like you're getting older.
Like we just discussed before this, I've got weddings, I've got babies being born. It's mad.
I know, I was like 27 last month and I feel like I'm at an existential crisis. I'm like getting close to 30 and I'm like, what is going on here?
Those are the days.
But then there'll be people watching and listening going like, that is nothing at all. So
I know, telling us to just be quiet.
Exactly, I know. So what were your influences then? Take us back to your early days and getting into music. Like saying there that lockdown was a big thing, but I take it must have been a big part of your life prior to that.
Aye, I mean, music's always been in my life, literally since I was a kid. Love to just pick up different instruments, see if I could play them, and then I'd be like, oh, I can get like one tune out of this, so I'll put it down again. Do you know what I mean? I'd call it a bit of a tinkerer, I suppose. But always loved music. My mum and dad have always been really supportive. Like, they'd buy me any instrument that I'd like be interested in, because they'd try and encourage it as much as possible. So I'm really grateful for that. But I mean, they're not musical at all. So luckily they've shown me very good music taste. And I've grown up listening to stuff like, well, I grew up on like Motown and all that stuff, James Brown, Michael Jackson. And then I got into the women like Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Amy Winehouse. So loads of different inspirations. And then as I got a little bit older, I started getting a bit more into rock, like Fleetwood Mac and stuff like that. So there's a whole messy load of stuff in there, but it's great. There's
a lot of seasoning there.
Aye, definitely.
Was it always music? Was it always being a singer when you were younger, or was there other avenues for you potentially?
It was music and football, to be honest.
Right.
I was really into my sport growing up, and it was like I always just battled between the two, and it was like certain ages, like I'd give one of them more of my attention. Do you know what I mean? And I'd start to think, oh, maybe this is what I need to do. And then I was about 13, 14 maybe, and I was a goalkeeper. I got a really bad break on my right hand and was like, I am never stepping foot in a goal again. It just terrified me. And from that moment, I was like, maybe music, maybe.
Nobody likes a goalkeeper anyway.
So though, like, exactly.
You've done the right thing.
Exactly.
So after that then, when you've kind of made that decision, are you putting a lot of your emphasis on music? Do you start trying to do like wee local gigs in places or anything like that?
Honestly, there's probably a lot of like really, really hard working musicians out there, right, that are just going to hate me. But I don't know how it's happened. It's just sort of happened this way. I'm quite shy. I'm quite a reserved person. Don't really go out much and stuff. I used to when I was a bit younger, but not much anymore. And basically, I loved music in high school, and my high school teacher was like, I think you should go and study it, like out with school, go and study it in uni or something like that, maybe be a music teacher. And I was like, oh, I don't know, like I've not got the patience to teach. So sort of just kept my cards close to my chest. I knew I loved music, but it's one of them, I don't know why, and it's probably again something that comes with age, but it's like one of them, like I loved it but I didn't want to show I loved it, so I'd like kick off in class and that, being like, nah, I hate music, you know what I mean, like don't know why. And my music teacher heard me singing one day, and she was like, right, I need to have a chat with you. I think you need to change which instrument you're doing in your exam. I think you should do singing and not piano. You've got an amazing voice. And I was just like, no, I don't, and I'm not singing. And I don't know, like I've always loved to sing, don't get me wrong, but like it's something that's so personal, do you know what I mean? It's inside you, and it's like a really vulnerable space that you're
Yeah.
in when you're showing people that,
Yeah.
So yeah, it took a lot of coaxing it out of me, I suppose, but we got there in the end, and I'm
Yeah.
very grateful.
It's difficult as well when you're, I suppose, when you're at school, and it's not like music and singing. It's not like anything else where you can go, right, I'm gonna go do this degree, and then that degree will get me the job, and like there's no like real avenue to it
Totally.
at all. So it's like, how do you actually go around getting into those different types of situations to become a singer?
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
hard.
I think as well, what you've just said there, see, the uncertainty of this job was probably a massive aspect of why I didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always felt like I need stability in my life and like just everything to be routined. And let me tell you, this job is not that. Do you know what I mean? Like, we go to gigs, we get picked up at like 8 in the morning, we get back home maybe sometimes the same day at like 3, 4 in the morning. It's mad. And then you're not working for weeks. It's a bit crazy, but I think, well, I started doing like videos on Twitter and stuff like that. And I done a cover of a Joel Corey song,
Mm-hmm.
and he retweeted it, and it went kind of viral. And that sort of generated some interest between management and things like that. So I was getting DMs and stuff like, would you maybe want to sign to management? And I was like, why no?
Yeah.
I'm doing nothing else in my house, so why not? So signed with management. And then one of my good friends, Sean McGill, he's a sports journalist, so I'm name dropping him here. But yeah, Sean, he gave me a text when it was Euros, and he was like, I think if you covered Yesterday I Can Boogie, it'll go viral. Like, honestly, the timing's perfect, whatever. So I was like, well, it's not really my type of song, but I'll try and like make it into mine. So done it, maybe tried it like 3 times. I was like, bang it up online, see what happens. And literally within minutes, it just was like hundreds of retweets, hundreds and hundreds of quote retweets. I was like, what is going on? And then ended up on This Morning and that. It was just like, do you know what I mean? Like, this does not happen to people like me. So I don't know. It was just a mad experience.
Who interviewed you on This Morning?
It was Dermot and Alison.
What?
What a good morning,
amazing.
mate. Hey, what a good way to start
That
your
is so
day.
big time, innit?
Innit? And then that day, the day I done This Morning, it was a Scotland-England game. And I remember loads of my mates had flown to England, to London, to go and watch the game and all that. And I'd flown to do This Morning. And I'm just like too loyal to my mates. They were all like, nah, we were going to the club back in Scotland to watch the Euros. Like, you need to come back. So I flew back to Scotland, didn't spend it in London. I'm so glad it was, I think it was a draw that day.
Yeah, no. That's
I
right.
know,
yeah,
wasn't it?
I went down for that. That was something else. But so tell us then about a little bit more about that, because I suppose that probably is one of the first times where people are really starting to recognise you and your music. But it's more that aspect I want to know, like what it's like to go viral, because that did go viral in Scotland and in the UK. And from when you post it to then when you start to recognise things are getting quite big here, like what was your thought process when you're starting to see all those numbers trickling up the way?
It's mad because it's like, see if you like do music and you're posting, I suppose if you do anything, you want your work to resonate with people.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And it's one of them when you're posting covers all the time and it's like you just want one to do the thing, do the big thing and go viral.
Yeah.
And you put a lot of time and effort into those types of videos, and then you get like 10 retweets and you're like, sound. But that one was just like, I don't know, I left my phone and then came back to it maybe an hour later. I was just like, is this the moment? Like, this is happening? Like, this is unbelievable. Unfortunately, it was a mad one because I posted it and got a lot of traction. And then some people found out I was a Celtic fan and I got a lot of unfollows. How typical. But it's always a mad experience. From that video alone, it generated like stuff like record labels messaging me, reaching out. I maybe had like a meeting every single day with like major labels all
That's
in the UK.
incredible,
Do you know what I mean? Like it does just go to show like social media can be so good for some things.
Yeah.
And from that point on, it's just like, let's go. I've been 100 miles an hour now.
The modern day Bieber, huh?
Don't.
That is unbelievable, just to think like you can just post something and then all of a sudden it can just change your life, because
Literally.
it has, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's changed my life in so many ways.
Yeah.
Like I got a wee bit of stick. I posted a video on TikTok, and it was me working at my first job, which was a trampoline park. And I posted it just being like, you know, keep doing like what you want to do and things will work out in the end. And then it cut to like me doing music, something that I've wanted to do for years, something that I love. And the amount of stick I got in the comments being like, there's nothing wrong with working in a trampoline park, all this. And I was like, no one said that. Like, I'm literally not dissing it. All I'm saying is I'm finally now where I want to be and it feels good. Do you know what I mean? And I'm allowed to celebrate that.
Yeah.
I felt a bit rubbish, but I am not made out to do normal stuff, mate. I'm not. Like, me on tills is not a good combination.
Was there any kind of moments, so obviously going on this morning, that's pretty cool. Is there any other kind of moments that stand out because of that video, that, you know, people maybe getting in contact with you or people you met? Or?
I had loads of footy players like liking it and stuff like that, which was quite cool. And then I went on Soccer AM and tatty punted the ball with my Doc Martens, and it was a great experience. The night before as well, I got top bins. No one will believe me, but I swear I did. I swear.
Were they recording it?
My mate was, but I got crossbar a good few times. Cameras off. I swear to God, top bins. So that was a pretty cool memory. Just there was loads, to be honest. Loads came with it. Aye.
But then how do you go from, so you have that moment and it's an amazing moment, but then it's, how do you use that to then make your career? So what was the process in there after that?
Well, that was good because obviously it bulked up my followers and stuff like that in quite a big way. So that was great. And then for me and my management, it meant that we could sort of capitalise on that a little bit. I was posting more frequently and just trying to show all those new followers, like, I can do more than just sing Yes Sir I Can Boogie. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love the song, right? But it just follows me, like it haunts me to this day. But again,
you kind of resent it a wee bit now in a way, or like,
I don't know. I feel like it would be bad if I said I resented it, because like we've just discussed, it's opened up so many doors for me. And the original tune is actually quite a tune. Do you know what I mean? So I could never hate it, but there's sometimes I'm just like, I'm not playing that song again. Do you know what I mean?
But see, because Scotland are back at the Euros, are people already starting to ask you about it again?
Nah, you know.
Nah.
I
think it's kind of like, right, it's done now.
Hopefully, we'll see. But I mean, what did I do? I'd done something for the Hogmanay show on BBC. And they were like, could you maybe just add in Yes Sir I Can Boogie? I was like, oh. And I was like, but I can't say no, it's a BBC, innit? So I had to do it. But yeah.
You pay, it's your money to go.
I know,
innit?
You can say
exactly. No to them, whatever you want
to do.
So since then, like, that's the moment it really starts to kickstart everything, and you just seem to be in this amazing upward trajectory. It's amazing to see you've done your album now, some amazing gigs as well. Like, what moments really stand out for you so far? Even
that, like, the gigging is crazy. Like, as much as I can talk about, like, I've been a professional musician for 4 years. Like, I've been performing live for maybe 2.5 years only now, and looking back on the people that I've supported and opened for, do you know what I mean? It's like mad. I got given a tour with Miles Kane. That was like my first proper tour, and I think it really like changed me as a performer, because he's such a charismatic guy on the stage, and watching that every night, I took a lot away from it and I learned a lot. And it's quite nice, like, learning how to, you know, walk on the stage and be someone else, and then the minute you've walked back off, you just leave that on there, that person on the stage, and you can kind of get to play around with different characters and stuff. It's cool. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of good shows. Doing Glastonbury, that was another one.
Amazing.
In my first year of doing festivals, I get offered that, and things like Transmit as well. they've been great to me. Done that 2 years on the bounce. But like, even that, like doing those shows, being offered those shows is one thing, right? But then coming out on stage and seeing people there is another thing. And both times, like, for those experiences, it was absolutely Ramo. So I'm just, do you know what I mean? I was just like, how have we done this?
Yeah.
And even back then, I'd only been doing it like a year. So I don't know, there must be something in the water, they say.
I know, because see, when you're like lining all these shows up, is there a part of you, particularly in the start of your career, you're going, right, are people going to turn up though? Is it going? Am I going to walk on stage here and there's like not as many people as we want? Or
any artist will know this feeling of just, especially when you're supporting someone, and festivals, I suppose, because you're trying to win over people, aren't you? You know what I mean? There's going to be people watching you that aren't your fans. And it's so important. I quite like that though. There's something like, see the challenge of it. I'm into that. Like, I'm just like, well, people are watching you, like, show us what you've got then. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, fine, let's go. So I do like that element of it. I can have a bit of fun with it, but it's just like, I think at the start, earlier on when I was getting offered all these gigs, I'm somebody who gets quite overwhelmed quite quickly, and obviously just due to everything happening so fast, my sort of coping mechanism is just say yes to everything, right? Don't worry about it, and then once it's done, you can sort of, you know, live in the moment then, I suppose, because anxiety can get you, like, and honestly, like, the amount of things, like, I suppose, like, let's take Glasgow for instance. The thought of that is just amazing, but like the anxiety part of me is like, I cannot, there's absolutely no way I'm singing at Glastonbury. I can't do it. I can't perform in front of these people. So say yes, what about after? And that is how I go.
What's the backstage like at Glastonbury? You must be rubbing shoulders with you, bumping into people behind the...
I mean, I don't know. I never really seen that many. Nah, to be honest.
I think we just think, like, when you're a fan watching it and you see like all these musicians there, you think like behind the scenes there must just be like all that stuff going on.
100%. I mean, I was like that until I started gigging and was like, all right, so you're just eating a ham butty and you're completely normal. Or like Transmit, Nile Rodgers from Sheiks playing table tennis, and he's just, you know what I mean, being absolutely normal, and I'm just like,
I can imagine him being amazing at table tennis as well.
He was unreal, mate. I swear to God, he was unreal.
I mean, pure schwab, just like
backhanders and that, eh? Unbelievable.
That's incredible. So what's the plans for 2024 then? So is there a date? Is there anything you can give away in the album or anything like that?
No, I'll keep all that close to my chest. Okay. No dates. Probably, hopefully, tail end of the year is what I can say.
Right.
Few singles before that, hopefully. And hopefully a few shows to follow up with as well. But more shows probably 2025. Right. Really focusing on it then, I think. Giving myself this year to just
enjoy the moment.
Exactly. Innit? And
just done something massive.
Totally. And I want the album to be perfect. So in that meantime, we'll be working on different mixes and just making sure everything is up to scratch for it coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be here and there. Be in Scotland.
People get to see it at some point.
Exactly. I'll be doing
massive, amazing. Well, congratulations again on the album.
Thank you very much.
That's huge news. But Brooke, since we've got you in here at Celtic Park with the Celtic crest behind us, we need to talk a little bit about Celtic. So
let's do it.
Tell us about how you were influenced into supporting Celtic. What's the backstory there?
So my dad's a massive Hoops fan, so it was just a bit of a no-brainer. And like I said earlier, I've got an older brother, and I think my dad was like, right, I've got a son, do footy with him and all that. Got my daughter, she can do all the girly stuff, whatever. That is just no the way it happened. My brother, by the way, is a proper meathead, so don't get it twisted. Like, he's a big guy in that, but he just loves the gym, and he was never really that bothered with football. Whereas I was like, let's go to the games. I played football myself, so dad was like, if he's not got to be into football in Celtic, you're coming with me, which is absolutely fine by me. So he sort of showed me the ropes, I suppose, from being really, really young. Always got me the strips, stuff like that. And was like, when you're big enough, we'll go to Parkhead. So I don't know, it's just been one of them in the fam the whole time.
Are there any like memories that stand out when you were younger about supporting the club, but it might be getting a kit or something? I feel like everybody's always got something they hold on to, you know?
There's a couple of memories, to be fair. Me and a few of my mates in school. So that it's so funny, like always going to Liverpool. This is just a wee side track, but always going to Liverpool. They're like baffled as to why so many people in Edinburgh support Celtic or Rangers and not like just Hearts or Hibs. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but that just shows like, and to be fair, I actually feel like, I'm not saying anything, but those other stadiums are looking rather empty these days. I'm noticing a few more Hoops fans on the horizon, but they just can't wrap their head around it. And it does just show like it does come over. Do you know what I mean? The support is massive with Celtic. I think like they go everywhere as well. They'll go home, they'll go away. It's brilliant. But memories. So back in primary school, me and a couple of my mates, there was like 4 of us, and we were Celtic fans, proper Celtic fans, and we were all in the footy team. And we'd all come into school one day with the Bumblebee kit. Do you remember the Bumblebee kit? Yeah. And I was like, this is unreal. This is nice, actual drip. Like, do you know what I mean? I remember just walking about feeling like the bee's knees, pardon the pun. So loved that kit. Loved the tartan kit. You remember that as well?
The one with a wee bit,
I had that comb on the back.
I had the tartan shorts.
That's right. I loved that kit. So 2 wee memories there. And like I said earlier, being a goalkeeper, the whole reason I wanted to be a goalkeeper in the first place was the holy goalie. Loved Artur Boruc, loved watching him. Just was like, he's actually an animal.
Yeah.
So I was actually a centre back before that, and was called the laziest centre back that the coach had seen. So it only made sense.
Yeah. Do you know it's funny you say that, because I was the same when I was younger. I used to be a goalkeeper as well, and part of the reason was because Artur Boruc. I remember getting his gloves. We used to wear Puma gloves. I remember getting his gloves and everything, and got the same boots as him, and it was just like I think every Celtic fan loves him.
100%.
Been fortunate enough to meet him through this, and he's just like, everyone talks about like how crazy and mental he is, and then when I met him, he was like the most like laid back
I can
guy
see that, you know.
Ever.
I can see that.
It was bizarre.
Because, do you know what I mean? He's got to channel something somewhere, innit?
It was so funny, but
wow.
what a goalie.
Boss.
And your dad then, having like kind of sharing Celtic with him, did he then start to bring you to Celtic Park? You were saying.
So I mean, I didn't really go until I was a bit older, to be honest. One of my mates, her big brother's Darren Fletcher, so she used to bring me, because they're Celtic fans as well, she used to bring me to the games with her, Aaron. So that was a nice wee experience, because my dad never used to until I was a bit older.
Yeah.
But it's actually probably been nicer now that I am a bit older, sharing that experience with my dad, because we go and it's just like dad-daughter day out, and it's like I actually understand the rules of football a bit more now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you just like to watch it when you're wee. Do you know what I mean? But being older and stuff, it is just a nice experience.
That's probably one of the best things a lot of the time about football, is that you can use it for that connection with people, where you can go 100%. To the games with your dad, with your mum, whoever it may be, and like share that thing with them. So nowadays, when you're supporting Celtic, is that something that you do when you can get the chance to, still coming to the games with your dad?
100%. I was looking at the games the other night to see which ones we could will make it to. Like, it's just like, especially I'm no home all the time anymore. I'm always travelling, so getting to come home and then being like, oh, we're going to Celtic game today, it's just a nice feeling. And the pies, the pies here, next level.
You're a big fan,
mate. Next level.
All right, then now you've said that on camera, I'm expecting Celtic Park to give you like a free year of pies or something like that.
We black card.
Post them on your social media and get a wee link up there. What about supporting Celtic then now, because you are travelling a lot? Obviously that changes things quite a bit. So how do you keep up to date with all things Celtic when you're on the road?
Well, the last few months, I will be honest, I've not been up to date. I don't know who's transferred where and who's doing what at the minute.
You've been a whole with that album, so that's
exactly.
fair
I've
enough.
been pretty focused on that, but it's been nice getting back into it. I did watch the game the other day. What he's doing, boys? What's happening? But keeping up. It's nice because I always go to Liverpool. Big Celtic following in Liverpool. Always run into Scots wherever you go, so it's quite a nice thing to sort of bond over. But yeah, just don't know, just Twitter, everything Celtic.
See, that's the thing. See, when you support Celtic, I say more than most other teams. When you do travel about, particularly go to places like Liverpool and they find out you're a Celtic fan, you always have better conversations with people. They're always 100%. A bit more interested in other clubs, I think.
Nah, I definitely agree with that. The only thing I can say to the Liverpool fans, the Liverpool Celtic fans, I know that little, but I'm a blue.
Oh, are you? You're a Evertonian?
Aye, unfortunately.
How did that happen?
My boyfriend's a blue.
Ah, right. Okay.
I know.
But we were saying off camera that you're going to, pals with Jamie Webster. So how does that work with the two of you?
Well,
you're an Evertonian and he's a...
Well, so my boyfriend plays guitar for Jamie, and they've been best mates since they were kids. You know what I mean? And it's funny because when I first started coming to Liverpool, I was a red. Sorry to my blues, but I was just due to the whole Celtic thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm walking at my boyfriend's house. He's like, "You do not sing. You'll never walk alone here." And you've got to just tease it in sometimes. Like, I love it, but
are you like quietly singing it around the house every now and then?
But it's a bit of a mad one. I do like to watch the Reds playing, but I can't back it. I can't. I've got to be loyal. And do you know what they said to me when they were like, "You should be a blue because it means you're not winning all the time." And I quite like that because supporting the underdog sometimes is just an amazing feeling. So yeah.
Well, even just that little rendition there of "You Never Walk Alone," I like the sound of that. You thought about trying to get yourself out there at Celtic Park at some point?
Oh, I'd definitely sing that one day.
Yeah, surely we can make that happen. We can link that before a big European game or something.
Oh, it'd be rude not to me.
60,000 people there, that would be...
No sweat.
That would be alright, wouldn't it? That would be... How do you think the nerves would be going into something like that? Like, do you find yourself getting nervous still before gigs?
Do you know what? Not really, but I do feel like that's one I probably would get a bit nervous for, like 100%. I've heard my tune being played in the stadium and that, which is quite cool. And hearing that, I'm just like, oh, boss. But I don't know. The nerves would maybe get the better of me that day.
Because you know your dad's going to be there.
Hey, that's it as well.
On with
He's
that.
Like, do not disappoint me here.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a really exciting year for you when all the album comes out, Brooke. I'm really excited to hear it. I'm sure the fans will be as well. And you always want to support one of your own as well, don't you? When you know someone's a big Celtic fan, so even more reason to support you because of that, Brooke.
Boss, thanks,
thank you so much for coming in, Brooke.
Thanks for having me.
It's been great to speak to you, and it's been great to catch you in this moment when you've just finished your album as well. And you know, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, you might have been a wee bit. I know. What were you like then?
Oh, I was bogged down. I was stressing out. But now, do you know what I mean?
Free.
Weight off my shoulders, a lot of dog walks, a lot of watching the football, playing FIFA. I'm happy.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming in. Where can people follow you and find out?
Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, just Brooke Combe. That simple. Like
not
a hair comb.
Yeah, not
like
comb.
a hair comb, but with an E on the end. Silent.
I cannot believe that I done that right.
I'm happy you did though, because this is just like the running joke, like between me and my management and stuff. Like, who's gonna get it right? Who's gonna get it right?
I'm glad you did say.
Mate, I've got awards and everything, and they say comb on them. So
even like spelt
really? COOMBE. Oh. But they were like, "Oh, we can change the spelling." I was like, "Nah, it's the story now." Do you know what I mean? I like that.
Yeah.
We kept it.
Some other person. Well, hopefully the fact that I've messed up there will start to change that.
Well,
so if later on down the line and everything's changing, no one says it anymore, I'm going to come back to this moment and say,
please,
it was me that started that.
You paved the way, mate.
Well, Brooke, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully see you again soon.
Defo. I'll come anytime. Nice one.